The headlights swept past her before she even had time to raise her hand. Elena stood on the shoulder of that empty Nevada road, her daughter's small fingers gripping hers, so tight it hurt, and watched the taillights fade into nothing. The wind had started picking up an hour ago, and now the sky looked like bruised skin, purple and gray and mean. Luna pressed against her leg, quiet in that way 4-year-olds get when they know something's wrong. Elena had been walking since noon, when the last of her courage finally outweighed her fear, and she grabbed Luna from the apartment while Marcus was passed out on the couch. She'd taken nothing but her wallet, and the stuffed rabbit Luna wouldn't sleep without. No phone. He'd smashed it 3 days earlier. No plan beyond getting distance between them and that apartment, that life, those hands that hurt her. Her feet ached. Luna was getting heavy, and the storm was coming. Another set of headlights appeared in the distance, and Elena felt her whole body tense. This time, though the truck slowed, it pulled onto the shoulder 20 feet ahead, hazard lights blinking orange against the gathering dark. Elena's first instinct was to run, but there was nowhere to go. Just scrub brush and open desert, and a sky about to open up. A man got out, tall, maybe mid-30s, wearing a faded field jacket and mudcake boots. He didn't come closer right away. He just stood there by his truck, one hand raised like he was trying to gentle a spooked horse. "Hey!" he called out, his voice carrying over the wind. "You folks okay?" Elena's throat tightened. She couldn't remember the last time someone had asked her that and meant it. "We're fine," she said, the lie automatic. The man glanced at the sky, then back at her. "Storm's gonna hit in about 10 minutes. There's a ranger station 5 miles up the road. I work with fish and wildlife. Just finish a survey out near the refuge. I can give you a ride there if you need one." Luna tugged on Elena's hand. "Mama, I'm cold." The man heard. He walked slowly back to his truck, pulled out a bottle of water and a weatherproof jacket, and set them on the hood. Then he stepped back again, giving them space. "I'm Daniel," he said. "I'm not going to hurt you, but you can't stay out here. Not with a little one." Elena looked at Luna, whose lips were starting to turn pale, and felt something crack open inside her chest. She walked forward and picked up the water, the jacket. Daniel nodded and opened the back door of the truck without another word. The ranger station was small and warm, smelling like coffee and old wood. Daniel's colleague, a woman named Carmen, took one look at Elena and Luna and didn't ask questions. She just brought blankets and soup and made a phone call to a shelter 2 towns over that had space. Daniel sat on the other side of the room, giving them distance, his hands wrapped around a mug of coffee. When Luna fell asleep against Elena's side, he caught her eye and offered the smallest, saddest smile. "You're safe now," he said quietly. And for the first time in 3 years, Elena believed it might be true. The shelter gave them a room with 2 beds and a window that locked from the inside. Elena cried the first night, not from fear, but from the overwhelming strangeness of silence. No footsteps in the hall, no shouting, just Luna's soft breathing beside her and the distant hum of traffic outside. She stayed for 6 weeks, working with a counselor who didn't flinch when Elena talked about the bruises, the threats, the way Marcus used to tell her no one else would ever want her. The counselor helped her file a restraining order, apply for food assistance, and find a small apartment through a nonprofit that helped domestic violence survivors. It wasn't much, a 1-bedroom walk-up with thin carpet and a kitchen the size of a closet. But it was theirs. Elena found work at a community garden program downtown, tending raised beds and teaching kids how to plant tomatoes and basil. The pay wasn't great, but it was steady, and Luna loved playing in the dirt after preschool. It was there, 3 months after that night on the highway, that Daniel showed up with a bag of seed packets and a shy grin. "Carmen told me you were working here," he said. "I volunteer sometimes on weekends. Thought I'd stop by." Elena felt her heart do something complicated. "You didn't have to." "I know," Daniel said, "but I wanted to." He came back the next weekend, and the one after that. He never asked about Marcus, never pushed for details Elena wasn't ready to give. He just showed up, helped mulch the beds, and let Luna follow around asking a million questions about birds and lizards and why the sky turned orange at sunset. He answered every single one like it mattered. Over the months, something shifted. Daniel started bringing Luna library books about animals. He fixed a wobbly leg on Elena's kitchen table without being asked. When Elena's car broke down and she panicked about how she'd afford the repair, Daniel quietly took care of it and refused to let her pay him back. "You do the same for someone else," he said simply. Elena wasn't sure that was true, but she was learning. They started taking walks after the garden closed, Luna running ahead on the trail, while they talked about small things, favorite foods, childhood memories, the way the desert looked when the light hit it just right. Daniel told her about his work tracking bat populations, how he'd spent years studying animals because they made more sense to him than people. Elena told him about growing up in a house that never felt safe, how she thought Marcus was different at first, how shame had kept her trapped longer than fear. Daniel didn't offer platitudes. He just listened, his steady presence a kind of answer all its own. One evening, a year after that night on the highway, they sat on a bench outside the garden while Luna chased fireflies. Elena found herself studying Daniel's profile in the fading light, the way his shoulders curved forward slightly, like he was always bracing for something, the quiet kindness in his eyes. "Why did you stop?" she asked suddenly. Daniel turned to her. "What?" "That night. Why did you stop for us?" Most people wouldn't have. He was quiet for a long time. "My mom," he said finally. "She left my dad when I was 8. Middle of winter, no car, just me and my sister and a suitcase. A stranger stopped and drove us to my aunt's house 3 states away. I never forgot that." He looked at her. "I guess I figured if I ever got the chance, I'd stop too." Elena felt tears prick her eyes. She reached over and took his hand, and Daniel's fingers closed gently around hers. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't a movie moment. It was just 2 people who'd both known what it meant to be afraid, sitting together in the growing dark, holding on. 2 years after that night on the highway, Daniel asked Elena to go hiking with him. It was early June, the air still cool before the desert heat set in, and he picked her up before dawn. Luna stayed with Carmen, who become something like family, and they drove to a trailhead Elena had never seen before. They climbed in comfortable silence, Daniel leading the way, until they reached a ridge just as the sun broke over the mountains. The light spilled across the valley in shades of gold and rose, turning everything soft and new. Daniel stopped and turned to face her, his hand steady as he took hers. "I know you don't need saving," he said quietly. "You've done that yourself. But I'd like to spend the rest of my life being someone you can count on, someone who shows up. If you'll have me." He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a simple silver band with a tiny turquoise stone. Nothing flashy, nothing that screamed for attention, just something real. Elena's vision blurred. She thought about that night on the highway, the storm rolling in, the way fear had nearly swallowed her whole. She thought about the years since, the slow and painful work of rebuilding herself, the way Daniel had never rushed her, never demanded more than she could give. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." Daniel pulled her close, and they stood there as the sun climbed higher, 2 people who'd both been lost once, now found. When they got back to the apartment, Luna tackled Daniel's legs in a hug, and he scooped her up, laughing. Elena watched them together and felt something settle deep in her chest. Not just safety, not just relief, but something bigger, hope, maybe, or the quiet certainty that she finally found home. She still kept the weatherproof jacket Daniel had given her that first night, hanging in the back of her closet. Sometimes she ran her fingers over the worn fabric and remembered the girl on the side of the road, terrified and alone, not knowing that rescue could look like a stranger with kind eyes and a beat-up truck, not knowing that love could be this gentle, this patient, this real. She knew now, and she wasn't letting go.